We'll start with this famous Buzz Aldrin print. The first step is to darken it so that its background matches the shade of the LRO background. Next, we rotate it horizontally and crop it to a size convenient for creating a pattern. This print is currently 100 pixels high. We need to get it down to 1 pixel. I'll start by reducing it 10 times to make it 10 pixels high. Then I'll repeat that image to make a walking pattern. Then we fill the background with the appropriate shade of grey. At this stage, our prints are still 90 times too large. I need to first shrink them 10 times to make each print 1 pixel high, making it like the starting point in the previous example, and then shrink it a further 9 times. Here's the 10-fold shrinkage. We'll enlarge that a bit. Now it looks like our earlier example, except the prints are not solid black pixels. Each pixel represents a single boot, which is about 12 centimeters wide. Again, I need to shrink this by a factor of 9 to match the LRO resolution of 1.06 meters per pixel. Here's what I get. Can you see the center line? Probably not. I'll enlarge it 10 times. See it now? Again, maybe not. If I use the eyedropper, we can see a slight difference between the line and the background. 115 versus 111, meaning that the center line is about 3% darker. Now compare that to the LRO image. There's no comparison in terms of darkness or contrast. So what's it going to take to produce a similar boot print trail? We can easily make the tracks wider by adding more prints side by side. But how do we make them sufficiently dark? To experiment, I tried putting the boots in a continuous line with no gaps. After shrinking, it produced a line with brightness 107. Still too bright because we want it to be around 80. I then tried filling the gap in between, so there was nothing but prints covering the walking area. This three-legged astronaut produced a line with brightness 97. Still too bright. Finally, I made a new track consisting entirely of the darkened half of Aldrin's boot. With the walking area completely filled with this pattern, the track looked like this. Upon shrinking it appropriately, I got a value of 81. Finally, it was dark enough. Now, to match the thickness of the LRO trails, I need to at least double its width. Can anyone seriously believe that the astronauts left a mess like this on the lunar surface? For a more realistic comparison, here's a photo of some trails taken through the LEM window. Not particularly dark, are they? Another interesting aspect in the Apollo 12 images is the Surveyor 3 craft. Here's a picture looking northwest towards the LEM and showing Pete Conrad beside the Surveyor 3 craft. If we zoom in on Surveyor 3, we notice there are two distinct bright spots aligned east and west. What could those bright spots be? Go back to Conrad. On top of the Surveyor are two solar panels aligned east and west. I sure hope nobody tries to claim that these are the bright spots. Solar panels are dark. They need to be, or they wouldn't work. What's more, they are angled at 90 degrees to each other, so only the one on the left could reflect the western sun upward. This white box in the front is a more likely candidate. Here's a close-up. And here's a rear view showing a similar box on the other side. Now for a front view. No big white surfaces here. Thus, the only source of these two white spots are these large white boxes. But these boxes are oriented north and south, which means the white dots should be above and below, not beside each other.
I will concede that certain unmanned vehicles might have made it to the moon. The Russians are supposed to have sent some unmanned vehicles to the moon, and possibly our surveyor did land on the moon, but units with people in them, never.
No one is denying that Surveyor possibly did land on the moon. But with the release of the newest LRO image, we can notice that the craft has seemingly changed its position since the Apollo 12 Hasselblad photos were taken. I maintain that NASA already knew what the lunar surface looked like, as the Lunar Orbiter spacecrafts had photographed it in advance. But the lunar orbiters didn't resolve the tiny surveyor crafts very well, making it difficult to determine just how they were oriented in position. This can lead us to only two conclusions. Both Apollo 12 and Surveyor 3 were faked, or the Surveyor 3 landing was real, but on the Apollo 12 set, the stagehands incorrectly positioned the Surveyor 3 prop. Perhaps it was the same guy who left the C on the rock showing.
The best part of this is down here.
Big C.
There's a big C, a letter C, on that rock. Now, that rock is on the moon. So, what do we got? We got the man in the moon involved, huh? I mean, there it is. Somebody drew that C on that rock. Did he do it? He couldn't get his hand down. This is done in Hollywood. The set designer goes out with little placards and he goes boom, 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 cue marks. And the people that do this thing, I forget what they're called right now, they go out there carrying this prop rock. It's made of paper mache. And they see C on the rock, C on the card. They say, oh, this is the C rock. Only here, they're professionals, and they're smart enough to turn the rock upside down. So the audience doesn't see a C on the rock. These clowns, I did it, boss. Yeah, I did it.